Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
Live from the original walk-ons, live at lunch on a Thursday. Jimmy Ott, Rohan Davey, Max Gotro, Rohan en route. Charlie with the much-deserved week off. Of course, he'll be back next Monday for SEC Media Days, as, you know, perfectly timed for the All-Star break, because that's the one thing we do have all season long till for minus 4 days. And so the quasi first half will end up this Sunday. They will have the draft Sunday night. We certainly monitor that as far as Kate Anderson and some other LSU players, and also some of the LSU recruits as well, if a couple can slip through the cracks a little bit. Used to be that top 10 round you go on. Now it's been reduced, maybe like top 4 or 5. I have to get to Charlie exactly where that thing is, because the NIL, quality of life. I mean, you want to be a BMOC at LSU, or those long bus rides in those less than desirable hotels along the way. So, but we do have the summer sports, and this is where we gravitate to a little bit. So when the All-Star break, we'll start the fourth, our final major. It used to be the third major of the season in golf, and I didn't know just how much. Pre-pandemic, we talked very, very little golf. But, it was one of the sports to kind of pick it up the quickest. And so, hey, I'm going to watch. And you throw a little, sprinkle a couple of dollars on it, and you really kind of get into it. So we've had a great success. It is very difficult to pick outright winners. It's very difficult. And through our contributors, we've managed to be pretty good. But so that's what we have. So we pay attention to the summer sports a little bit more. Max, you're all over the board. I mean, Knapp, 6 under. Sam Burns, 3 under. Tie for the lead, by the way, 6 under with Knapp's. Burns, 3 under. Ludwig Aubert at 3 unders. All really strong first rounds that are in the books. Now, we're monitoring, of course, they're playing in Scotland. So I think the last tee time was maybe 10 o'clock, 10 a.m.,
I think
9 a.m. maybe?
It was probably earlier than that. Last group went off at 8:27 Central Time. So it's an early start. You get to wake up. The coverage didn't start till 10, so we haven't get to see much of it on the Golf Channel. But, yeah, it's the afternoon waves off, and Victor Hovland, one of our other guys, 3 under through 11.
Oh, okay.
So he's off to a good start.
I failed to mention him.
The wind is just blowing a little bit. It's supposed to die down a little bit late in the day and then blow again tomorrow. But, look, I enjoy Scottish Open golf in the morning. It gets you kind of prepped for morning golf. You're going to have to wake up early next week to watch the golf, and this kind of gets you set for that. But the sounds that it makes, the visuals, just different than everything you see the rest of the year. It's just like Wimbledon. We love the views. We love just the sights and sounds of Wimbledon being different than everything else, and the Scottish Open golf overseas is very much like that.
Wimbledon's a little bit more pristine than it appears to the eye for the golf novice.
Sure.
I mean, where's the beautiful fairways and the water and the bunker and the trees and the landscaping?
I was thinking about this.
They save their money on their landscaping. So,
yeah.
Max, you can't compare the landscaping at Wimbledon. The only thing they have comparison there is, well, they're in the same time zone. They're 6 hours ahead of us. So.
I guess I actually thought about this a week ago. You could compare each of the tennis majors to each of the golf majors, I think, in a way. Wimbledon is the Masters. Everything's prim and proper.
Yes.
You're not going to screw up there if you're a patron. I think the French Open is very much like the British Open in that it plays way different than everything else they play all season long.
Yes.
And then the U.S. Opens are the same, and the PGA
so the
is
clay
like
is the link style. Okay.
The PGA is the Aussie. It's probably the least important major, kind of separated from the rest. And then the U.S. Opens are the same.
I'm with you. Would you give the U.S. because like Pegula, nice player, but she's not going to win any other majors. But she rode the home court in New York to
Right.
a championship last year. And we've seen some other Americans make runs. Even as good as Borg was, it was always an American, like Connors and the other ones that beat him, and back in the old days. But the home court, is it a home course for next week for the British, for guys like Rory?
This one's in Portrush is in Ireland. So this is where Lowry won and got a big ovation. Royal Portrush is one of the ones.
You don't think Rory played this course? Or
100%.
Okay.
Northern Ireland. He's from Northern Ireland, so
Okay.
it's a home venue for him.
Okay.
It was a little different with Lowry being from the Republic of Ireland.
Was that
but
his
still,
first major that he won?
Shane Lowry?
Rory.
Rory did not win. He won a PGA, I believe, first.
Okay.
Before anything, he's won 2 PGAs, so I think that's where he won first. But he won an Open a little bit later on. I'm pretty sure of that.
So, any advice in game?
I would just
with the
say,
adjusted lines.
Despite his post-round comments about how he's just trying to get ready for next week, Ludwig Oberg does something that is very, very favorable for future play, and that is he struck the ball incredibly well, tee to green, and just putted poorly. Lost 1.25 strokes on the greens. Missed some really short putts on the back nine, what could have been a really good round. I'm just thinking about, let's see, the first hole, which was his 10th of the day, he missed a 6-footer for birdie. He missed a 4-footer for birdie on his 12th hole of the day. He missed another pretty short one on 7, which was his 16th hole today, 3 feet 7 inches, and then a 4-foot 9-inch putt on his 17th hole of the day. So a lot of short putts, a lot of opportunities missed that you maybe would expect him to convert with just a little bit more practice putting this afternoon. Maybe he'll be ready tomorrow.
Certainly played a lot of tennis in my time before my knees gave out. My dad was a heck of a tennis player and a coach as well. And I'll tell you what, usually breakfast at Wimbledon, I'll actually go and get berries, cream, a little champagne, and stuff like that. It was a well-behaved crowd a couple of days ago, but I had to laugh when there was a disruption right near a toss. Guess what it was? The bottle of champagne popped too loud in the stands, and so they had a little pause for a second. But the number one player in the world, it was breakfast at Wimbledon this morning with the ladies semifinals, back-to-back on center court, and the number one player in the world who lost in the final to Madison Keys as a big favorite, who lost as a big favorite to Coco Gauff in the French Open finals. She's playing a girl who's a 13th seed. Now, Anisimova used to be a phenom, okay? So her parents are from Russia. They moved to New Jersey. She was born in New Jersey. She's getting really good at tennis. They moved to South Florida, that's where all the junior tennis players go and get trained, and she's on her way. And then she gets burnt out, and she takes 8 months off. And she entered back this season as like 180th ranking or something like that. But she against Sabalenka, she can out-hit Sabalenka. Sabalenka intimidates because she dictates the points. Sabalenka may be a little bit better on the serve, but Anisimova is better off the ground. And the thing is, the intimidation factor, would you think that she had beaten Sabalenka 5 times already? So she matches up well. And I know, Rohan, you could talk about that no matter what sport. I mean, I was floored when I heard that. Well, guess what? She beat her for the 6th time today to reach her first final. And as we watch Swiatek and the other one take an early lead and an early break, Swiatek is going to be favored, Max, but I don't see how she's going to be Anisimova on this surface. She's got way more weapons. This is more of a weapons. Sabalenka, by the way, 2 Frenches ago, beat, a little over a year ago, bageled Swiatek on her best surface on clay. So you're going to go to clay. And part of it, she's playing better, is Swiatek, but part of it is the draw has really opened up nicely favorably for him. So when Brad Gilbert is breaking down Sabalenka versus Anisimova, and so Anisimova was burnt out, and she kept her cool. By the way, Sabalenka was on her best behavior today. We've seen her where she kind of goes nuts, loses it, and she made comments that, on the court and in the trophy presentation, sort of a disrespectful to Coco. That can't happen again. And she was on her best behavior. warm enough today where there were 2 stoppages in play because the fans needed medical treatment.
Hot, baby.
She
Gave her some
brought
water.
over
Yep.
water to both of the fans.
Did she?
Yes, indeed.
Hey,
Banana.
listen, that's that PR campaign right there.
No, when she's on her best behavior,
Yeah.
maybe because the queen, is right around the corner.
That's right.
I don't know.
What
But
about
that's
the one
right.
time she hit the tape, and she was like, "Why didn't you say sorry?" That was in the 3rd set. Anisimova did not apologize.
so I'm
kinda
taking a shower. I
celebrated.
heard that one in the. So Anisimova.
So Anisimova hits a winner to win
the
a
tape.
game
Off
off the tape.
so it's called
and
a net
doesn't
court.
apologize. Apparently, I've seen a lot of players, not every player,
Sabalenka
sort of
told her, why didn't you?
walking back to her chair. She says, "You're supposed to say sorry," basically.
So nobody's sorry about hitting that,
No.
but it's sort of a respectful thing.
Yeah.
I know I got lucky on that. So
Right,
you kind of
right.
put your hand up, and so
But it's not something you have to do.
it's
No.
something that's done 95% of the time at all levels.
Well,
Sabalenka's trying to hold everybody else. To her
Sometimes
standard now.
when people won't give it back to you, too.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I understand. So Sabalenka's the
That's
first.
just the
to get-
only problem that Sabalenka maybe had in terms of gamesmanship.
She doesn't need
sportsmanship.
to say anything.
She was fine. She was fine.
But
Right.
no, on her best behavior.
Yes.
And really on the court, because on the court, if she handled herself on the court mentally like this against Coco can't beat her when she doesn't get distracted and become counterproductive and let her pouting or her frustrations lead to
psyching herself out,
don't make one bad shot, 6 bad shots.
Correct.
So it's
Well,
all about the next play. It's all about the next point.
So you think Anisimova has more top end ability than Coco
She
does?
has more. Oh, without a doubt.
Okay.
Without a doubt. I mean, she can't beat Sabalenka. Sabalenka was pretty good today. It wasn't like this girl has stronger weapons. Sabalenka's a better serve, but this girl it's real close. But not only is she doing stuff with it, Max, but she's hitting lasers on the corners and deep constantly.
Look, I enjoy watching Grand Slam tennis, but I only watch the Grand Slams, and even then, Anisimova, I was not really familiar with her game, but I was very impressed with what she was able to do.
It was
today.
not, and everybody, the ESPN did a good job of pregame saying this is not going to be a big upset. If we have a chance for an upset in these 2 semifinals, this is the one. And against the number 1 player, clearly the number 1 player in the world, clearly Sabalenka. I mean, she's there every time, and so anyway, it's a good story, and it'll be interesting how now she follows up the biggest match of her career against probably a girl that's had 6 or 7 Grand Slam championships, playing in her first one. But the more talented player, the player that should win on this one is going to be a big underdog, and Max going to be at a nice price on Sunday. But the one thing she did, so they talk about we talk about Roe, and I always like to take the country club sports and maybe analogize and compare to our mainstream sports that we cover all the time that our audience has a much better knowledge of. And that is, we talk about the quarterbacks. The ones who can really run are the hardest to develop as passers because it's so easy, Well, but if you get that guy who's really mobile to be settled in and make plays from the pocket too, well, then what you got? Then you got that thing that every coach who's taking that athlete and trying to turn them in, then we got something. So you improve your biggest weakness, her movement. Well, she's got weapons. She can have weapons, so she's not having to run down a lot of balls because the points are so short. And so her, and Brad Gilbert broke it down, her mobility was the worst rating of the 2 players going in. If you watch the match today, she improved on her biggest weakness. And it was not as big of a detriment as they thought. So if she was a 1 before and she's got to like a 5 or 6 there, there you go. Yeah. There you go. But it's fun. The mental, the psychology of sports was really on display today. And as hard ass as he was, and no nonsense and driven as Nick Saban was, he was a big student of the psychology.
Oh, no doubt. I mean,
huge.
The mental part of the game for Coach Saban, to me, that was one of the biggest things that I took away from him when he was fortunate enough to come to LSU, and we were fortunate enough to have him join. The mental part of the game, man, especially in an individual sport right? We're talking about tennis in an individual sport where it's just you. Same thing I believe in track with that momentum and building that momentum from race to race. Same thing with the tennis, man. And I'm going to tell you, the one thing I liked about the individual matches, though, is, it's all on you.
Yes.
It's all on you.
Yes.
And psychologically, we talk about, what's her name? Sabalenka? Did I say that right?
Sabalenka.
Yeah, Sabalenka. You talk about her, big, strong, powerful young lady with a plethora of shots. And I'm like you. I only watch the,
Right.
Grand Slams,
right.
yeah.
I'm not watching the early and the prelims and all that. So to get to see her against Coco before, and now seeing her here in this tournament, and with you guys' knowledge of it, she is clearly, in my opinion, now I don't agree with Jimmy as the huge separation with Coco too much with that, because mentally, even if you get beat the way she did beat her in the last Grand Slam, it shows that Coco, in my opinion, isn't too far away from her, even though she did have a lot of mental issues and missed a bunch of shots, and Coco got in her head to an extent. That's a part of it, though.
Yeah.
Coco beat her between the ears, baby.
Yeah.
Trust me.
So that was,
and kind of guts, too.
That was part of it. But you also, you gotta hit shots, too.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And she made shots and hit shots, and I see her here. I don't think she's when we talk about lateral quickness, I don't see that as much. But like you say, when it's a short rally, you don't need it.
Yeah,
Jimmy, our friends of the Queen have Anisimova plus 140 to win it all, and she's already in the final. Swiatek's still playing.
Well, they're projecting with their early lead.
Correct.
But,
so we could see a slightly better number than plus 140 tomorrow
slightly,
Saturday in the final.
Slightly. But
ever so slightly.
And now if Bencic makes it through, she'd probably be favored.
Sure.
Yeah,
And Swiatek has never made it to the semifinals until this time at Wimbledon. She's
at
got
Wimbledon.
4 French Opens and
Wimbledon.
a U.S. Open win, but
So
this
5
is her
major.
furthest run.
So we got golf with Max on the front. We got a great match in tennis. We got, how about horse racing? Colucci gave us that bomb last year on Saratoga opening day. Well, it's opening day at the oldest track in the country at Saratoga in upstate New York. He'll have some picks for you today. And then we got some recruiting, because recruiting is in the summertime now.
Yeah.
Right down the street at 12:15. We'll certainly be dialed in with Lamar Brown in his announcement. We're live here at the original Walk-Ons, where it's a place to watch all your stuff. We're watching the Scottish Open right now. Xander Schauffele hitting at -2 right now. Swiatek at Wimbledon on center court, up 3-1 in the first set, so up a break over Bencic. Live at lunch, live at Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I mean, Rohan, what are we going to do with this boy? I mean, with strawberries and cream is the main thing, and Max says, and it's the guy that did really well on his standardized tests, okay? And he says, I didn't know they had strawberries over there. I mean, where the hell is he? They think they're getting them, huh?
I just thought they
frozen.
Yeah,
you think they're frozen? I mean,
he thought they were just
lab
coming
grown,
in, baby. Lab grown.
the strawberries are picked every morning.
I didn't know that.
30 miles away, 6 a.m. They get them to there by 9 a.m. Whatever they don't use that day, they turn into jam.
That's
and
awesome.
It is legit.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It is legit. Trust me.
They don't get no fresher than
it's
that,
all prim
baby.
and proper there. Bro, they having a good time.
They having a good time.
And the one thing that I could share with you, too, pay attention to when they show the shots on the grounds. It's just so manicured.
Immaculate, ain't it?
It's immaculate. So, only time, my dad's on my mind, but I took him to Wimbledon because, let's see, the first trip I was taking him to was the 2003 World Series between the Cubs and the Yankees.
Yeah.
Well, the Cubs lost a 3-1 lead. And the Bartman deal, and so that was canceled. So then LSU was going to play in the Rose Bowl for the first time, so I was going to take him there. Well, USC got upset by UCLA, and we played in another bowl. So that was canceled. He said, well, you know these things are going to happen. You're not really giving me something. So I said, I don't think they're going to cancel Wimbledon.
Right.
So I took him. Only time he's been out the country.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, only time he had been out the country. Yes, indeed. So 4-2 as they go right now. What's LB going to do down the street, man? Lamar Brown. You hearing anything down at U High?
A&M or LSU.
Okay.
A&M LSU, well, we come closer to that number he wanted, baby. So, hey, we got to keep the young man at home. We came close to his number.
You lean is toward here. That's what I'm hearing as well. I don't want to get I don't want to get out of my lane here.
I know the next
recruiting, but
culprit is A&M. So I'm hoping the young man stays home, man. We came close to his number, right? So, hey, we're in the ballpark. Whatever they got to get ironed out over the next what time is it? The next hour.
Yeah,
you know. They get ironed out, but we got to keep him, Coach. We got to keep him because it's so important right now with trying to build these trenches the way Kyle wants it, the way those guys want it over there, and it's with him, the other big kid that's down in New Orleans, that Carr, the kid from Mississippi that they're high on. They got the edge commitment that they wanted, so I think with him, it's just another piece to the puzzle of building that dominant front, man. And we got to make sure we got to keep him home. We got to keep him home. I'm looking forward to that.
Do we have everything lined up? I mean, listen, there's some things at Texas if they really want to go after. I mean, they got more resources.
Money,
but we still. Where would you put our rankings as far as ability, resources, as far things to sell? Where may we top 5 in our heyday as far as the old way?
I think
before NIL. Now, with the money and things like that, where Texas or A&M, where are we as far as – are we maxing out? Are we giving ourselves the best opportunity, the best chance to recruit, like as close to we were?
No, I don't think that we're up there with some of those guys that jumped in on the NIL earlier than us. The A&Ms, the Texas, the TCUs, the ones that have this big pile of cash. I think we got in on the NIL situation and getting these guys what they need. I think we got into it very late, a couple years late.
Okay.
Compared to everyone else, I think we're just now as a program. You see, we just gave basketball money. You know what I mean? To try to get some players and do some things. Baseball, of course, we know where those guys are. But when it comes to the football part of it, Jay, we've just started to, I think, get out of the middle of the pack in the SEC and now pushing more towards.
Ole Miss had more than
us.
yeah,
Coach.
Yeah, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, Coach. And I think all of that too had a lot to do with how the relationship that we tore down with these money guys. With these guys that weren't open to cutting that checkbook, because I feel like our head coach has now gotten more into it as opposed to how he was the last couple of years when he came into the program and was very standoffish towards these donors.
For Ole Miss to have more than us, I mean, Lane Kiffin's doing a better job hustling
the
boosters than Brian Kelly.
100%. And that's where – you bring it. You have now Frank Wilson. You have now these guys, but I think now he's now starting to listen and see where we fell off from it and where he needs to be. So I think he's done a better job.
He's adapted. He's
Correct.
improved.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's my read as well.
Yes, sir.
LSU's the portal class that their son. I mean, transfers is the number one class rated class in the country.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
and I know Kelly has this.
Ole Miss looking us in the eye, or even having a better roster is something I just can't handle.
Me neither. I can't handle it either. But I'm glad that whoever got in his ear or he saw the reality of wherever we are, who talked to him, whether it's Scott, whoever. But I'm just glad that he's actually taking steps and doing some of these things that you need to do with some of these kids. The TikToks, the this, the that. You need to be like a showman.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
I like this, Jimmy. I grew up where like signing day was a big deal, and you kind of lived and died by who'd you get or who snubbed you.
Yeah.
We haven't really had a feeling like that a whole lot anymore. We just don't get that because of the portal and whatnot. But I mean, it's a big day to keep a big time guy out of U High. That would be huge.
100%.
Big day. Don't forget our friends at the Thibodeau store. Yes, indeed, the Thibodeau stores with all of your outdoor cooking needs. Man, how about the grills like Shop Traga, the Charbroil, the Pit Boss, the Uni, McWare outdoor cooking wear. That's right, cooking like a Cajun with that Cajun cookware. How about the Cajun Classic cast iron cookware for all of that? I love this one, man. The cast iron oyster grill. That's right, to put on your grill where you can put the that so the you don't have they stabilize the oyster shells so they're not falling all over the place because this just in the oyster shells are a little uneven. Burners, outdoor burners, single, double, triple burners. The fleur de lis outdoor boilers, man, all kinds of great stuff there. The oilless turkey fryers. I mean, you got the other ones, traditional as well. All the different baskets, strainers, the boiling pots with the nozzles on it to drain easier. You talk about everything you need, every type of gadget, every type of spoon, you name it, at the Thibodeau store. The Thibodeau store. Check them out online at doitbest.com. doitbest.com, the Thibodeau store for all of your outdoor shopping needs. He gave us a bomb on Saratoga opening day last year. Let's get another one from him when he comes back. Colucci Tom right here on Live at Lunch, live at Walk-Ons at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
It's time. It's now Colucci time. Dwayne Colucci is back to give his best picks on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Colucci, how you doing, my man? Opening day at Saratoga.
Opening day at Saratoga. It's a beautiful day, but they've been giving a lot of taste this year, Jimmy. You know, they started last week. They had the Belmont Steak over there, so it's not as exciting to me as it was in the past because of last week. But last weekend was great, fabulous racing. Phileas Fogg ran fabulous with Kendrick Caramouche. You had a couple other monstrous horses, some maidens with some good debuts. So, Saratoga's in full swing. They're milking it for everything they could get. And, it's good to see because what else do we have other than, the NYRA is really prospering. I guess Kentucky, Churchill keeps that going, and Keeneland and Turfway Park. But other parts of the country up until until the 18th when Del Mar starts getting going, then California's on the map. It's been a rough go for horse racing, but it's good to see Saratoga getting off on the right foot. Some nice weather there today. The rain held back, so we're looking forward to an exciting summer meet at Saratoga and at Del Mar. And I got to fire it up on the big screen, guys. So ready to go this morning.
Yeah, Del Mar opening day next Friday. I'll be there for that, so looking forward to that. When are you going to Del Mar this year? Are we going to cross paths this year?
I'm going actually in August. I'll be there the first couple of weeks, so I'll be there. I'm not sure when you're going to be there, Jimmy.
I'm leaving August 3rd. I'm leaving August 3rd.
Yeah, I hear you. I'll be there cross that. So I'll be there for that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you gave what did that thing paid like $100 last year? I mean, what was that thing that you gave us last year at opening day, or was that the year before? Let's. I know you've looked at the card today.
Yeah, definitely. I got one winner last year, opening day, the Queen's MG there. That was a monstrous pay. Reining it in a little. Fifth race, I'm looking. Saddle. Johnny V is the master. The titles he won. Mones Dominguez and all those guys who started to take over and win titles, but Johnny V won almost as many as Cordero. So, what a great rider, and he is from that Cordero family lineage, the Velasquez, Jorge Velasquez, Angel Cordero, and John Velasquez. So, Johnny V's in the saddle. Edict, the number 5 in the 5th race, kind of easy to remember. That's the De La Rose. The first, basically, they broke it down into 2 sections because the field was so big. So this is the first portion, and then later in the card you have the second portion. So you'll see a stake race with the same name, but because there were so many entrants that they had to break it up into 2 races, which is a great sign.
So that's race 5, race 5, number 5. Edict, an Argentine horse, and so a mile on the turf on the 5th De La Rose. So Johnny Velasquez.
You can obviously see. I mean, Jimmy, you could see the drop down. I mean, the horse was in the New York last time. That's a great one. Before that was the Bogeg, which was a grade 3. Now you're looking at the De La Rose, which is a restricted, Philly stake race, which is a little less. The purse is $135,000. So Edict should be able to carry his speed. I mean, another great thing, if you were watching last weekend, the inner turf course had such a great, tremendous speed bias that hopefully Johnny V just won't go too quick early and this horse won't spin his wheels. And, come the top of the stretch, he'll be able to open it up. So, also look for that bias. It should remain the same. There was very little saturation on the turf courses. So that inner turf course has been dominating with speed.
Very good, very good. Any other picks before we move on to something else?
Yeah, sure. If you want one later in the card, I was looking at, it was a Chad Brown horse with Flavion Pratt in the second half of the De La Rose. I'm looking again at the 5-horse, Fun with Flags. Hopefully this horse will improve off that Monmouth run. Yes, race 8. That's the second half of the De La Rose Stakes.
Okay.
So we're going for a price in that one. You're going to have to beat Irad and Safi on the 4, but we're taking Flavian Pratt, Fun with Flags, Chad Brown. This horse off a layoff. He ran at Fairgrounds, actually, in your neck of the woods. He didn't run all that good. Then he was put on the shelf until May. So it was a layoff from March till May. He ran at Monmouth Park, where he ran pretty solid, I'll be honest with you. That was a rough run race. The pace wasn't that quick, and he was able to save ground, get some shape back into him. Now, second off the layoff, we're looking for him to pop. You know how great Chad Brown is at Saratoga as well, because he is unbelievable on the turf. You know what he did this year, Jimmy? He kind of first all of a sudden you started to see his stop in, after the first Saturday in May, June. Unbelievable. Chad Brown is the man. Definitely, you're going to get a good price on this horse because, like I said, moving on up, the 4-horse is 6-5 morning line. So we'll get a good price with Chad and Flavian, and that's a deadly combination. 27% at Saratoga so far. The ROI isn't all that great, but you're getting a 25% rider-trainer combination, which is huge in horse racing.
Chad Brown at Saratoga at a price. Flavian Pratt in there. And you know one thing, and all that you mentioned, Irish horses coming over here on the grass, on the turf, have had some success, man. And he's another one with Fun with Flags. So race 5, number 5. Race 8, number 5. Colucci's 2 opening day picks at Saratoga today. With the tracks closing down around the country or being threatened to, like the fairgrounds down in New Orleans, Saratoga, Del Mar are going to be just fine with the in the long. Yes. Hey, are they chasing the Los Angeles Dodgers out there right now on a high 6-game losing streak, getting swept at home to the Astros? Are they chasing?
Well, if I remember, they are chasing here. We've been doing pretty well up until yesterday. We have been doing solid. Definitely, this is Dodger country, and they are chasing that money and hoping that the Dodgers could turn it around. But if I remember correctly, guys, last year they pulled something like this with team that lost 6 in a row. And let me tell you guys were right on these Cubs so far. They're really playing well, but the Dodgers are still 2 games ahead of the Cubs, which is unfathomable in the National League. Heat up that big lead. And what's concerning is that since Max Muncy went down, and he's not the biggest stick in the lineup, but he drives in a lot of speed. But been producing the same. Lineup has not been producing the same. So, yes, they are chasing, losing 6 in a row. They were chasing the Yankees, but now the Yankees started to right the ship. A little shocking, they released DJ LeMahieu, but the Yankees have been playing better ball. The Mets are playing lights out now. You're starting to see them hit the ball. Definitely Juan Soto starts to hit. The Mets are going to win games and overcome, actually, their pitching injuries. And I think that's what's hurting the Dodgers, too. You have to move Ohtani back to pitching and hitting, and he seems to have lost a little, hitting-wise. So the Dodgers are in a tough position. They need some of these pitchers to come back and get healthy. Otherwise, it's going to be a dogfight in the playoffs, but we still have a 5-game lead against San Francisco. And San Francisco, we've seen, has been life and death to even win a series at times. I think last weekend was their first series win in over a month. So keep your eye on the National League.
I'm not worried. I'm not losing sleep about for the Dodgers fans. I mean, listen, they can't be any worse shape or as bad a shape as their pitching was for the postseason last year, and they still won it. I mean, they're throwing guys I've never heard of in elimination game at Petco in Game 4 there, and that's so. The Glass now came back yesterday. Snell is coming back a little bit later as well. So their pitching is going to be, and we'll see what they get out of Ohtani. They're not going to jeopardize his plate, and if it is kind of affecting him at the plate, they'll taper off that. So look, Rohan Davies with me today. Charlie on a much-deserved vacation on the beach, complaining about the sand. But anyway, so Rohan Davies, former NFL, former LSU and New England quarterback, he's got some Jamaican roots, and flag football is going to be an Olympic sport. And he's been approached by Jamaica about coaching. He wants to play, maybe. He's been approached. Do you have any advice for Rohan?
Give me some advice, baby.
Rohan, let me tell you, it's a great up-and-coming sport. It's great for everybody, especially the parents who don't want their kids to have the physical contact. So, it's another sport that we can put out there, and definitely all systems are go. Definitely coach that team. If you're in good enough shape, join the team, get a team formulated. I mean, it's going to be a great thing for the Olympics. I mean, any kind of football is great, and especially in your neck of the woods. In Baton Rouge, you know how that is. So congratulations. Yes, I'm glad they approached you, and it's great to talk with you.
Same here, partner.
I guess they're going to be putting lines on those games.
It. For 28 that a gaming board will allow.
That's right.
Yes. So 28 Olympics are in Los Angeles. Is that right, Max?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, they are. Okay, they're in L.A. So we got that going as well. Well, Kaluch, man, great stuff as always. Again, good to be back, and so just got the All-Star break, and they keep chasing them Dodgers. So we got this going on, and we got a little Wimbledon. You getting any? And then I guess with on the All-Star break, you'll probably get a little push on the British Open as well. It's kind of the summer sports. Yeah, definitely. The British Open will be great handle. We're definitely getting some push. I'm an Italian, so, Sinner got the default card there the last round. That was shocking that guy couldn't finish him off. But, we're seeing a lot of action, especially with the Joker involved. You know how tennis is, especially Wimbledon. And like you said, the Open, it's going to be so exciting, wide open this year. Definitely an entertaining golf course, to say the least, when you're dealing and, traveling overseas for a lot of these American golfers. So it's going to be very exciting. Handle's going to be off the hook for the British Open. Seen a lot of futures, too, for the football. I know Chris is back. We're going to have the college football games of the year up and all that going on. So, definitely the Rampart South Point are on the map. We're ready for football, as always. We're ready for the All-Star break as well, so I could get my handicapping hat on and make some money for Delmar, Jim. I could buy you a few drinks, Jim O's, and have a few cocktails and cougar action. Yeah. Jimmy O's is a bar right in the middle of Delmar, huh? Would you imagine that, huh, Ron? Jimmy O's.
Shocking.
There we go. Yeah, shocker, huh?
Beautiful.
Shocker. You're the best. You're the best, Dwayne. Rohan's going to take your advice on this Jamaican Olympic flag football team. So, hey, man, good luck today. Let's hit them like we did last year in the opening day at Saratoga. Follow Dwayne at Twitter at NYBookieDwayne. Thank you, D.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Rohan. Enjoy the show and enjoy the rest of the day. And let's win some money.
That's right.
Yes. So tell us, what's going on? When they contact you, when you're going to meet? Huh?
I got recontacted yesterday. I was contacted probably a couple months ago. And just going to have an initial meeting and just to see exactly what direction they want to go, what they want me to be a part of, and what can I be a part of,
How much? What's your interest level?
High.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm interested in it. I mean, look,
that may not be the first time.
That's what I'm saying. And anytime you can just be a part of the Olympics, you know what I mean? So, I mean, hell, I never thought at 46 I'd have a chance to be a part of the Olympics, baby.
Opening ceremonies, carrying the Jamaican flag, the first Jamaican flag football coach, Rohan Davies.
This would be interesting, man.
Can I be the water boy? Can I be the manager?
Listen, I know you're going to be there. It's just exciting. It's exciting.
That's awesome, man.
You know?
That is a fun. And the funny thing is, I didn't think there'd be as much interest. At least they're chirping this interest from the NFL players.
Oh yeah, Coach, it's big. Like I say, it's part of for those guys and me myself representing your country, and then it's the damn Olympics. You know what I mean? And it's here in the States. It's in L.A. I mean, what better place,
Let's do it. Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com for windows, doors, siding, and shutters. Yes, indeed. Even our shutters. You can elevate your home with our custom shutters from Relief Windows. We offer shutters designed to enhance your home style and functionality. Again, that's the way. Look good and functional, and they last. Whether you're looking to add elegance inside your home or protect your home with durable exterior hurricane shutters, we have the perfect solution for you. Interior shutters, exterior shutters, check them all out at ReliefWindows.com. We're open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Give us a call at 288-8138. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Live at the original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Max is back with you. Back with us, Max? Huh? You had some technical on the YouTube.
I'm back. Sorry.
So what are you asking me?
We're working on YouTube. Just a reminder of Colucci's picks. I know some people.
Yeah. Race 5, the number 5. Race 8, the number 5.
Perfect.
So it is it's a stakes race. That means it's a bigger purse, and so, but they had enough applicants where they had to split it up into 2 races. The 2 different races. So the birth a mile on the inside turf, and it's called the Della Rose. The Della Rose. So today, race 5 is expected to go. Oh, I'm going the wrong way here. Race 5 expected to go around 2:25 our time today.
So I
think about 20 minutes from first post today.
I toured Churchill Downs last weekend, and one of the things I learned was that Kentucky law has it to where only one track can be running at a time in the state. So Keeneland's not going to be running at the same time.
Yes.
Churchill. Does that exist in other states? Because it sounds like
every one of them. Yeah.
Okay, so California, as soon as Saratoga ends,
no. Saratoga's in New York. So when, for instance, when
Saratoga
Aqueduct is in the winter, they're done. Belmont starts. When Belmont's done in New York, they go to Saratoga.
Okay.
When in California, Santa Anita,
that's what I'm thinking.
Santa Anita is in Los Angeles, and then they go to Del Mar in San Diego.
So when you say they can't run at the same time, meaning
there's some that will, but the big tracks, the main tracks, they don't overlap.
Fairgrounds and Evangeline
at the same
Downs?
time of the season.
Okay.
So there's no real other main track, the Fairgrounds, but the Evangeline Downs is in the summer, and they don't compete with the Fairgrounds, who is Thanksgiving to Easter.
So the season.
Yes, the season.
Okay.
The season, the time of the season.
Yeah.
We'll take a time out, top of the hour, sports break. Hey, Paul Stone talking some college football. He's back for the Big 12 media days in Frisco. Live at lunch, live at Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Kicking off hour number 2 over here at the original Walk-Ons just off of campus. Jimmy Ott, former LSU and New England quarterback Rohan Davey, and Max Gautreaux. Again,
Mad Max.
Tomorrow we will be at Ruffino's and Hold the Mayo. That's right, Devin Snow will be with us taking Charlie's seat tomorrow at Ruffino's. Let's kick off hour number 2 with some college football, and let's talk to Paul Stone, our partner with me and Max. We're during the podcast season on Bet Rivers. Paul, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, Jimmy, man, doing well. Here we are post July the 4th. We're going to have some college football next month. Going to be here before we know it.
All right, back from Frisco, the palatial facilities of Frisco, Texas. Your biggest takeaways from the Big 12 media days this week?
Well, hearing the Commissioner Yormark's opening remarks, this is a conference in the new age of NIL and the transfer portal and revenue sharing on the horizon. This is a conference that wants to be sure that it's got a seat at the table, that wants a piece of the pie. And he was talking about, the need for multiple teams in the playoff this year. And he did say, as did several of the coaches, if we want more teams in the playoff, we've got to do it on the field, win some games and that type of thing. So this is a balanced conference. No great teams, much like last year, but a lot of good teams. I think 7 teams in that conference could win the league. So it's going to be one of the more exciting leagues in all of college football, in my opinion.
They did not release polls. Max, fill us in on that. Exactly the reason why that the Big 12, which is always part of it, the media's predictions for all conference teams in order of finish, and they felt that it affected them last year.
It sounds like basically the results of their preseason poll last year were so bad that they feel it impacted the way they were looked at. So Arizona State was preseason poll dead last in the Big 12 last year, and they feel like maybe they got a little disrespected because they made a big run. They turned out to be a very good team, and they didn't get the respect because they were the
Was there an official word from the league on this?
Paul, I haven't seen an official word. They just said they weren't announcing a preseason poll this year.
They felt that it affected their national perception and maybe some seeding and maybe getting some an at-large or a second team in there. Paul, did you pick up some of that in media days?
Absolutely. They thought their perspective was that Arizona State and BYU were disadvantaged by their starting point and the overall pecking order of college football. And I know that's going to be kind of a battle cry for a league like the Big 12, but I'd say let's look at Indiana. Indiana last year probably started the year at about number 100, and they won 11 games, won no games as an underdog, won 11 games all as a favorite, and they were able to move up the the rankings and get in as an at-large team. So I don't really buy it. They did do the preseason all-conference team and all the other things. They just didn't do the poll of teams.
Roa, I know what you think of that, huh, Ro?
Yeah, I think it's bull crap. I don't buy that either. Win, man. He started it out correctly, the commissioner, when he first got up there and said, we need to win. And that's how you get in these conversations. You win and you sustain it.
Yes, indeed. Another thing, and you talk about the NIL era or the pay-for-play, whatever it is. Boy, Texas Tech with one outlet has them as 4 of the top 10 transfers. 4 of the top 10 transfers, that's a large percentage for a 16-team league. And, we think, Paul, about Texas and Texas A&M. It's your neck of the woods, a lifelong resident in Texas. Is Texas Tech, we've seen the softball girl that they paid all the money to. We've seen some other sports. So we knew that they were one of the first ones to kind of have a plan that they gave everybody on the football roster a certain stipend. I think it was like $40,000 or $50,000 at the time a few years ago. You thought, is Texas Tech, where do they fall in the new NIL era of trying to compile a roster?
And I tell you, they fall right near the top. And I know Mr. Davey has been in a lot of locker rooms throughout his athletic career, and we played middle school and maybe high school sports, and we always hear the power of teamwork. You got to be a team, you got to work together, but you can't underestimate the power of one. And the one that they have, maybe the most valuable player in the Big 12 this season, is booster Cody Campbell. He sold his oil and gas company, Double Eagle, for a little bit over $4 billion, the B word, and boy, not the M word.
What's his number?
And this a big number with lots of zeros, and he loves intercollegiate athletics. And Kennedy, the softball pitcher, came to a non-revenue sport at that, came to Lubbock largely because of Mr. Campbell. And these transfers that they've got coming into the portal this year, they've really shored up that defense, and that's where they need the most help. So they're certainly a player. Mr. Campbell is interesting. He was at Big 12 Media Days, and he's calling for the major changes and overhaul of intercollegiate athletics. He doesn't like the way it's going, but at the same time, and I'm borrowing a word from someone else I heard on an interview, I think it was one of the On3 guys, but as long as these rules are in place, he's going to weaponize his arsenal, and they're going to buy players, to be frank about it, there at Texas Tech. But he does want an overhaul of intercollegiate athletics as well. So very interesting. But Cody Campbell, man, he's the man there in Lubbock. Also played football at Texas Tech.
Cody Campbell, the new T. Boone Pickens in this league?
I think he might
Sound
even
like
have,
it.
I don't know Mr. Pickens, but net worth, but he might have deeper pockets than that. I'm not sure. I don't want to misstate it because I'm not qualified. But $4 billion.
Yeah, well,
man,
T. Boone's no longer with him, but the stadium's named after him, and he was arguably the most impactful booster, back in his day. So
I heard about him when I was coming out.
No, his name is on the stadium. Oklahoma State misses him. Speaking of Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, man, with all the success, and they never had a losing record there. I mean, winning record after the first year for like 18 years in a row. He's entering his 21st year, but he might be in under some pressure. They went 0-9 in the league last year. He cleaned house. Everybody is new, including on the staff, pretty much, including the two coordinators. And their total is at 5.5. Is it going to be another tough spot here for the Oklahoma State Cowboys after such a long stretch of success for Gundy at Stillwater?
I'll tell you, Jimmy, Oklahoma State to me is kind of a case study or a poster child, if you will, in how quickly things can change in this era of NIL. This is a team, they won 10 games in 2023. 2 years ago, they played Texas for the Big 12 title. Last year, they win 3 games. Not sure they're going to be any better this year. Mike Gundy took the stage yesterday. They're in Frisco. They have 65 new players. 35 of those guys, they got in the late portal. They've never even seen practice. They don't have a quarterback on the roster who's ever taken a snap for Oklahoma State. I mean, this is just a stacked deck. You look at the 65 or so teams in the Power 4 leagues, they're one of the bottom 5 teams in the Power 4. Purdue and Stanford are the only 2 that I can say are clearly below Oklahoma State. They start the year with relative gimmies against Tennessee Martin of the FCS and Tulsa. Going to start out 2-0. Might not be favored, though, the rest of the way in their final 10. They don't get to play West Virginia. They played terrible defense last year, gave up 43 points a game in their last 8. They're not going to win 5.5. They're not going to win 6 games. I just can't imagine it. Under 5.5, minus 154 there in the marketplace for Oklahoma State. It's one of my favorite regular season win totals of the year.
All right, Kansas State coming back with Avery Johnson, trying to develop him a little bit more as a passer. So they were about 5 or 6 to 1 as one of the favorites to win it. Whittingham. He could turn the page now, finally, as quarterback. He's still there. A lot of rumors that they thought he was leaving, but Utah is expected to have a very good team this year. Arizona State, the defending champion. They lose Scatterboo, but have everybody else. And, boy, you talk about an ascending young coach in Dillingham. Texas Tech, we talk about. Nobody's killing it in this league like the Red Raiders in the transfer portal. Baylor and Dave Aranda said this is his best roster. That's including his best roster since he's been at Waco. That's including the Big 12 championship team with that goal line stance against Oklahoma State that year. TCU thinks like they've kind of got an improved roster. Iowa State's got a really good coach. Who do you like? And is there a price on the futures for this league that seems to be pretty wide open?
Again, 7 teams I think could win the Big 12 this year. I think it's going to be much like last year. If you remember, 4 teams finished tied for first at 7-2. 3 more at 6-3. So we had 7 teams within 1 game of one another, and 2 more at 5-4. Might not have that kind of balance. This is going to be extremely balanced. I've been recommending to split a unit on Arizona State plus 600 and Baylor plus 700 to win the conference. This Arizona State team, you kind of teed me up there. Scatterboo's gone, 1,700 yards rushing, but everybody else returns pretty much of substance, including quarterback Sam Levitt. And then Baylor, man, they got a great offense. Their quarterback Sawyer Robertson returns. Their top running back, Bryson Washington, over 1,000 yards last year. Top receiver, Josh Cameron. That defense is going to be better. So that's my recommendation. Take a unit and split it between Arizona State at plus 600, Baylor plus 700.
All right, Rich Rod is back, and back where he had his most success before he took the Michigan job. Terrible fit there, but he was winning some BCS bowls back in the day at West Virginia, his alma mater. But in this era, especially, Paul, when you make a coaching change, your roster is gutted pretty good. Looks like it could be a transitional year here for the Mountaineers. Their win total is at 5.5. You have a side here.
I do. I mean, there used to be a song, and I'm older than all you guys, but it was about the second time around. And it was talking about romance. Second time around is going to be better than the first. I don't think it is in romance, and I don't think it is in college football either. You know, I think it's a tough gig here for Rich Rod. He loses two of his top players, running back C.J. Donaldson off to Ohio State. Buckeyes, they don't just take anybody these days. And then their top defensive player, linebacker Josiah Trotter, last year's Big 12 Defensive Freshman of the Year, son of former NFL great Jeremiah Trotter. Trotter's off to Missouri, so they lose two of their best players. They've got 52 new players. Didn't play good defense last year with Trotter. Gave up 33.5 points a game. Probably be worse this year. Got a tough schedule, the 32nd toughest in the nation, according to one publication. They also don't get to play Oklahoma State, Arizona, or Houston, three teams projected to finish in the bottom half of the league. I don't think they're going to be burning many couches this year in Morgantown. They might burn them out of frustration, but not celebration. I like West Virginia under 5.5 regular season wins. You can find that at minus 150 out there in the marketplace.
All right, let's look at some individual games involving these teams, and both are non-conference games. And one we're going to be paying attention a lot to is, Max, I know you've been eyeing this one down, Auburn traveling to Waco to take on the Baylor Bears. Auburn is a road favorite here, Paul, at 2.5.
Yeah, you know, I make numbers on all the games, as you probably know, Jimmy. I actually made Baylor a 2.5-point favorite there at home. It's going to be a big game for both teams, but especially Baylor getting to host an SEC opponent on a Friday night, kind of a standalone game there at McLean Stadium, Friday night, August 29th. You know, they had Baylor last year, as you mentioned, Rhonda's on the chopping block. It seems to be just a matter of time. They lose a game to Oklahoma State, I believe. They lost by not Oklahoma State. I tell you, they lost to Iowa State, rather, by 22 points the first Saturday in October. They sit at 2-4 in the season, 0-3 in conference play. They rallied to win their last 6 regular season. Played great offense down the stretch, averaged just a shade under 40 points a game in their last 8 games of the season last year. Got everybody back, basically. I like this Baylor team. Auburn's got to find a quarterback. I'm not sure Jackson Arnold is that guy. I think he will start against Baylor. I like Baylor plus the small points there in Waco week 1 over Auburn.
Yeah, that's at week 1, and it is by far the most attractive game on the schedule. It's the only game that involves, well, Georgia Tech at Colorado. Georgia Tech at Colorado is that night as well, but Auburn, Baylor, a little Fox versus ESPN coverage. Fox, of course, Big 12 home game there for Baylor, and ESPN will have Georgia Tech at Colorado. Let's look at another game a couple of weeks later, week 3 in college football, the Backyard Brawl. This used to be played a lot of times for the Thanksgiving night or that Friday. It's early in the schedule with Pitt being in the ACC, West Virginia being in the Big 12. West Virginia at home here, Pitt a small 2.5-point favorite on the road.
Yeah, you know, we've touched on West Virginia, obviously. They've got a new coach. They've got a new starting quarterback, more than 50 new players in the program, so not exactly the way you would like things to be going in terms of roster management. Pitt, on the other hand, they got a lot of talent returning this year. They've got their quarterback, sophomore Eli Holstein. They've got a scat back, Desmond Reed, 5'8", 175 pounds, but lightning can come in small packages, 962 yards rushing last year, almost 600 yards receiving, second-team All-American, so he can do things in space. Their defense, Pitt, they return 9 of their top 13 tacklers. That includes their first-team All-ACC linebacker, Kyle Lewis. The Backyard Brawl, one of college football's most underappreciated rivalries in all of college football from my perspective. As a matter of habit, I don't like to play the favorite in these games, especially a road favorite, but I just think Pitt's roster is much further along at this point, especially in the opening game of Rich Rod's tenure with so many new players, so many question marks. I think Pitt -2.5 at West Virginia.
Ro, we're certainly familiar with Eli, coming through with Zachary and his brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good year last year.
Mm-hmm. Listen, him leaving Alabama and going up there to Pitt, I think was a great move on his part. I'm not really surprised by how Holstein has been in the passing game. I've seen him work with him a couple times throughout the year. So, listen, had a great year last year. I think surprised a lot of people, put himself, right up there with some of the better players in that conference, some of the better quarterbacks in college football. And I look for him to even be better this year than he was last year, especially with so many returning starters returning for him on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, so, Paul, what do they look like? Have you looked at Pitt? I know we're switching leagues to ACC a little bit, but I would have to think, with Eli putting up the numbers he did in his first year starting, that's a strong base for your second year, where we see a lot of college quarterbacks usually spike up a bit.
Yeah, he's got some weapons there. They started the year last year. I don't want to misstate, but they were undefeated. I think kind of the middle of the season, and were starting to sneak into the playoff conversation, and then stumbled the last few games there, but. Yeah, I would think with his, the second year as a full-time starter, you've got to think his evolution and comfort level under center is going to be, heightened there. And then again, Desmond Reed, man, that's one of the most underrated players in all of college football. This guy he is lightning, and he can hurt you in a lot of different ways. So when you got a good quarterback and you got a guy like that can make things happen in space, I think it's going to be another great Panther offense. And, they play good defense under their head coach there. He's a defensive kind of guy. And, again, they've got 9 of their top 13 tacklers back, really good at that second level at the linebacker position. So I think this Pitt team could be one of those teams right behind Clemson, that could maybe make some noise and maybe contend for an at-large berth in the playoffs.
Paul, one of the things we like working with you is you're very fair with yourself, and you don't just talk about your wins or the things you got right, but also, you're fair with yourself, and that's what makes you good. On these early lines, these 2 games, Baylor, Auburn, Pitt, West Virginia, when you bet advanced lines like this, what is your percentage where you get a better closing value?
I would say. And I'm being honest. I mean, again, I've, I don't want to, sound boastful.
No, I know it's pretty good. I know it's good. I
would say at least 90%, and some of them are very significant. And that's kind of what you look for. You might come back with the middle, but this is what I do, year round. I mean, college football is my specialty. These other guys that make the lines, they're spread out. They might be doing a little soccer,
right?
Tennis, maybe even some water polo and rugby. Who knows what all they do, but all I really do is college football this time of year, so it's not sole focus. So I should be able to beat them, on the opening numbers, and usually do.
There we go. And now, but August 29th, with only week 0 before that was probably going to be minimum movement, huh? Or, the way, as opposed to what we see some.
A lot of it is, projection for sure, when you take these games a little bit further into the season. So there's not going to be a whole lot of movement, between now and the opening weekend on those first games. But once we start getting results, that's where you see, in many cases, your advantage, where you have closing line value, sometimes, a fairly significant amount. So you hope to have a few of those anyway.
Matt, you want to add something? I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask one thing. BYU losing their quarterback, kind of late in the
what's
process.
Going on? He's definitely
he's going to transfer out of the program.
Okay.
He's going to be suspended 7 games. So, Paul, I was just curious, how much does that downgrade BYU's season, and do they have a replacement for him in the works?
I think it's pretty significant.
Yeah, they really, what they've got on the roster. They don't have a real experienced quarterback. They've got a guy who is a 26 commitment this next class, who will be a senior in high school. And there was some, talk that he was going to be able to graduate high school and, start early. But that apparently hadn't come to fruition. So the guys that they have on hand are Trayson Bourget. If you remember him in the MAC, he started at Western Michigan, probably started 10 or 12 games there, with mixed results. Then McKay Hillstead, he's the guy that comes from Utah State, can run the football a little bit, not very big, not great numbers at Utah State. I think he started 4 or 5 games there. And then Bear Bachmeier, whose name will be familiar, his brother Hank Bachmeier started his career at Boise State, ended it at Wake Forest. I think he was at Louisiana Tech there in your state for a season. But Bear Bachmeier is a true freshman who actually signed with Stanford and went to spring training with Stanford this year. But then when Troy Taylor, their head coach, got in a little trouble, got fired, he decided to go to BYU. So Bear Bachmeier might kind of be the wild card, the true freshman who came in late. I don't think he even went through spring training because of his unique circumstances. But they're going to be down. There's going to be a drop-off, whoever their starting quarterback is, compared to Jake Resloff last year. So I've lowered them 5 points at this point. I might re-examine that. I'll revisit it and kind of take a closer look. But I think it's at least a 5-point drop in their power rating from Resloff to whoever starts out of these 3 contenders.
Follow Paul on Twitter at Paul Stone Sports and all college football season long, twice a week with me on Sports Bettor's Paradise on our podcast. Paul, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Let's get them this year.
Absolutely, guys. Y'all have a great weekend, great rest of your summer. College football is going to be here before we know it.
All right, so Lamar Brown has made his decision, and he has chosen LSU. So
we was in the ballpark, Coach.
He's in the ball, just enough in the ballpark.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Max, did he have any other hats and all the displays?
He's got the other displays. But
okay, A&M, Miami.
LSU gold baseball jersey, looks like. So
that's right,
for the baseball team.
Okay. Good stuff right there from
yes, sir.
Paul Stone, and
yes,
major hit for
keep him committed now.
Yes.
It just started,
That's right. Don't forget our friends at United Community Bank with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of South Louisiana for over 50 years. Our great team at United Community Bank, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. We'll come back to talk about what Paul touched on, and Lamar Brown commits to LSU. Live at lunch, live at the original walk-ons on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from the original walk-ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Once again, Lamar Brown commits to LSU at his press conference. It was broadcasted on ESPN2. Max, give us had hats lined up from Texas A&M, Texas, and Miami, like you wrote from what I was heard, and got a little information, but A&M was the kind of the biggest hurdle for LSU. Something like LSU was a little behind Earl for a while on the hometown, looking for maybe a hometown discount, which is common. Kind of usually offer more to where you travel. You got to go move away from home. But LSU at least got close enough or in the neighborhood, and that's kind of what we thought. We did give LSU a lean, and it comes to fruition. But as you said, they don't sign a letter of intent until December. I mean, LSU just lost one that had committed for how long? Last year in Underwood.
Yep.
So it does seem, maybe this is just to connect the dots, it's just too easy, but it does seem that the Underwood decommitment was a jolt to the whole roster building operation for LSU. It's a bit of a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, you are in jeopardy of sliding.
Yeah.
You can't slide in. And I thought Paul Stone did a good job of talking about, and, that Oklahoma State, Gundy had a losing season his first year. He had not a losing, he had winning seasons for 18 years in a row at a major conference. That is hard. You want to see how quick? 0-9.
Yep.
It could change quick. Florida State, the quarterback's healthy. They go to a 4-team playoff. Okay?
Yep.
They go 2-10 the next year. It is year to year. There's no doubt. And so, a coach that was hired under the old rules here at LSU has little late, better late than never.
Yeah.
Looks like they're more on top of things because I don't know if they get Lamar Brown 2 years ago.
I don't think so. I don't think so because we weren't situated to even come even the park near the ballpark. You know what I mean? As opposed to even being in the ballpark with an A&M, with a Miami, with what these guys are offering. So, no, I'm totally convinced we would not have gotten him in the previous 2 years. I mean, just look at who we lost over the previous 2 years because our NIL situation was not solidified or even going in the right direction as it is now. And I still don't think we're where we want to be, but I think we're definitely closer than where we were when BK first started.
It sure seems that way with the number one transfer portal class, with guys like this, you're making sure that a top 10 overall player, prospect in the country, no matter what position, maybe the top defensive line prospect in the country. Max, for our audience who was unable to watch it on ESPN2, kind of paint the picture with the team in the background and stuff like that at U-High.
Yeah, he had the big hats, the oversized hats that you put on. He put on the LSU hat and then unzipped his quarter zip to reveal the LSU baseball gold jersey. His teammates sat up behind him
with their jerseys on.
With their jerseys on.
That was cool.
Stand up, giving him an ovation. So a nice scene there down the road at U-High. LSU now 5th in the 2026 class rankings according to Rivals since that commitment was made.
Okay. For that would be number one transfer portal and top 10 or close to top 5. That's it. That's getting it done. That's getting it done. So it's something that had to be improved.
But I know they got
because teams. Clemson, we're talking about them this week. This is their best roster since the new rules.
Yeah,
they were affected as much as anybody that I saw. We're talking about SMU's of the world. No, SMU gonna have some change. I mean, so that was a ahead of schedule run to the playoffs. Maybe they didn't even deserve to be in a playoff. Whatever it was, they're better, and even with their 28,000, 30,000 seat stadium, they're going to have money to build a roster. So the teams that are kind of affected for the positive and for the negative since the new rules, and LSU might fall down on their level of resources, ability, what they have overall sell, but they shouldn't be down for some of the rosters I've seen. Maybe the super rosters are done. Okay, the 2019 LSU or the some of those Alabama teams, some of the the Georgia team, so when these SEC teams really get it right, back in the day, Florida, maybe the super rosters with guys you can pull a guy off the bench and he could go win the SEC player, offensive player of the game, the SEC championship and stuff like that. You got a guy like Ricky Jean waiting to get in there.
Right.
Guys like that. He gets the defensive MVP.
Right.
Maybe those super rosters, 2011, LSU is another good one, maybe gone, but LSU, where they rank in relation to everybody else, has not been where they need to be. Where would they be without Jane Daniels winning a Heisman, having that kind of year? Where would they be? Going to Texas Bowl and playing Purdue is not acceptable here at this program.
We've been very fortunate, man, honestly, over the last few years, while BK been trying to get his act together with getting off his behind and going out recruiting and being just, what we're used to seeing as the face of the program and being visible to these guys. Very fortunate, man, to have a Jaden Daniels over the last few years to be able to basically put some of your hindrance to the back burner. You didn't have to worry about it too much, and by him leaving, it highlighted a lot of the things especially offensively, that we were deficient in, that we had to go out and get. I believe Caden Durham's going to have a wonderful year. Stays healthy. He's going to have a wonderful year. Very explosive. And I think he's going to have a breakthrough year for us. But listen, we are definitely not where we need to be, Jay. But to what you just said, better late than never.
Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest AC heating companies since 1980, and my buddy Lucas Ragusa has been in the industry for a long time, from a tech all the way up to management, ownership, the whole part. He knows it. He's paid his dues, and he is wonderful to deal with. And I've dealt with Lucas for a long time, and not only great to deal with, great to go to a Saints game as well. Went to the first game back after Katrina with him, the 2 playoff games on the way to the Dome. We'll never forget those. Awesome guy, and he runs his company, and he surrounds himself with people who are going to represent the company really well. Hey, it's hot, man. It breaks down. You may have not got like we asked you to. Get the kind of the tune up, the AC check in the spring like you were supposed to. But if it goes down, you got to call, because what was the guy? One of the restaurants we were working said his unit was out for a few days. No. Service today, every day. Same day service means you'll never sleep hot when you call. You call 480-1000. 480-1000. 480-1000. Call today. Get service today. Factory authorized dealer for Carrier, American Standard, Dakin, and Rheem products, but that doesn't mean we don't service other units as well. 480-1000. It breaks. Support the folks who support us here at Live at Lunch. Total Maintenance. Live at Lunch, live at the original Walk-Ons, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
With Ott and Hanny from the original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, the women's final is set. Anisimova in a classic match against Sabalenka. 6-4, 4-6, 6-4 earlier today. Was not nearly the dramatics in the second semifinal. Iga Swiatek, 6-2, 6-love. And so we have the odds.
We do have a line. Swiatek minus
160.
225.
Minus 225.
Plus 175 on the American. Could be the third different American in a Grand Slam.
Anisimova, who was Russian parents, but she was born in the States and raised, and you can tell she doesn't have that. She doesn't fumble with the English language when she speaks. She's hardcore American. She's got more of the weapons. The surface favors her more, but she's never been in the final. And being in the Wimbledon final as your first final against somebody who has 5 majors is the odds underdog. But this is going to be the last time you're going to get her at this price. And she was plus $2 against the world's number 1 today. And Sabalenka would have been a considerable favorite over Swiatek on this surface, a considerable favorite. And so, because this is by far Swiatek's toughest. And she hadn't even been to the semifinals before. She's been knocked out last 2 out of 3 years in like the first or second round. So, put me down. Just saying, I'm putting it out. Otter locks. There you go, baby. We're gonna have that one today. What's Rory doing? Is he interested back in the Scottish Open? Where's Scheffler? What's the leaderboard look like as they wind down on this first round across overseas?
Yeah, so Scheffler came in at 3 under par earlier this morning. Also kind of struggled with the short game, but he's struggled traditionally on the short game overseas. The slower greens, the tougher chip shots. This is the one difference between links courses. It's not that hard to get up and down at this course, where next week it'll be very difficult if you miss in the wrong spots. But he's 3 under par, very much in the mix, just 3 back of 4 leaders. Straka, Jake Knapp, who is one of our picks this week, Victor Perez, and Nico Echeverria. Meanwhile, Rory McIlroy just got in the clubhouse with 3 straight birdies to get back in the conversation. He's 2 under par with a 68, just 4 back. Victor Hovland is finishing up his round. He's 4 under through 17. He's putting on the last hole. He's got a 3-footer for par, so he should be in the top 10 or just around that edge going into the second round. And Ludwig Oberg, who I still tout, to be honest, at 3 under par. Like I said, struggled with the short game. He was 30-1 pre-tournament. He's 25-1 after shooting 3 under. So to me, it's a decent value play if you're still looking to get in and you didn't get in already on the Swede Ludwig Oberg. But Pretty stacked field, not a whole lot of separation at this point, so hard to really tell who's got a huge advantage at this point.
So, Rohan, what we've learned today, because you've been with us for consecutive days, and so getting the feel, especially in the summer, we talk in sports. We just don't talk on Football Sunday.
Right.
Okay, that's obvious.
Right.
We're recapping LSU in college, and we're previewing the Saints in the pros and picks. One thing we've learned, so Max gave out all his picks yesterday. He's got one guy tied for the lead, although 3 more close. He's got some bullets.
Yeah, he does.
He's pretty good.
He owns it.
Max is a little bit better than, say, his evaluation of where Wimbledon's produce is outsourced. Would you say? Just a little bit?
We'll keep that
I didn't
away
know they
from
grew
him.
strawberries in England. No, Max, they get them flown in from Germany.
I thought they were
what the hell
Ponchatoula
is wrong?
strawberries.
Ponchatoula.
Yeah, Ponchatoula.
Ship them in, you know?
Well, Baglio. The late great Charlie
Bags.
with the flats of Ponchatoula
We
strawberries.
just keep Mad Max away from the produce.
yes. Keep him in his corner. Max, you watched the match earlier today. You saw how
it was a lot of fun.
Swiatek, Tomas. You and my brother-in-law both said early, and I kind of shoot it. Swiatek, you kind of watch her. And so there was a name for you to watch. What do you think?
She looked great today. I don't know if Bencic, she went in the back at one point. I guess she had a training or some sort of issue. So maybe Bencic wasn't 100% today.
Bencic hurt her foot in the tail end of the I always forget it, in a quarterfinal.
Okay, so maybe that was affecting her a little bit. But yes, easy pickings and maybe a little bit fresher perhaps on Saturday, considering how quick it was today. A lot of emotion out of Anisimova, just getting to the final to begin with. So maybe that's a bit of a factor in the final.
I think also style of play. And let me tell you, it was a big stage for her today. And she was, and like I said, Sabalenka was a bigger. Only thing is, she beat her 5 times. So she wasn't that part of like playing the Sabalenka, the big bad Sabalenka, who's a heavy hitter, was not going to phase her. But it's real simple. The shorter points, it's going to be Anisimova.
Yeah.
Okay, she's got the power, she's got the weapons, and Swiatek mobility is off the charts. That's why she's so. So the longer the points, Swiatek. The shorter the points, it's going to be easier said than done. I do think that now Swiatek is serving better, but she doesn't have the serve that Anisimova has.
I would say, considering that Sabalenka had been in those moments more often, I was a little surprised that she had more of the unforced errors than Anisimova. A lot more just sitters that she hit right back in the net. It felt like there were more flaws in Sabalenka's
You think
game.
those are unforced errors? They're coming pretty hard at her.
Oh, no doubt. But I'm listening to the commentators. I'm still learning here, but it felt like there were more opportunities.
And the thing that makes her ball hit somebody. So everybody hits topspin. Well, topspin gives you room for error when you hit, but it also reduces the pace. Anisimova flattens it. And so it's coming harder, but it's less room for error. She was hitting the corners pretty consistently for a flat ball like that. So you got power. I mean, high risk, high reward, and she's sharp right now. Could she be a little bit off? She went through a little spell where she missed a couple of sitters when she got broken to lose the first set. She was up 30-love. And she lost that service game, the first service game of the match. But and everybody, they said even before this, she is playing better. Now she's back. She's playing better than she ever has, because her whole, just matured, got her mind right, and this was the best match of her career. So what's the best price there?
Plus 175 we're looking at. I don't know if it'll be there tomorrow. But,
it's gone, baby. It's gone there, Coach.
I have no problem with Swiatek winning in dominant fashion. The recency bias will keep the public some action on there, but it may settle down as well. We'll come back and wrap things up. We're at the Original Walk-Ons, live for the Original Walk-Ons, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Lunch with Ott and Hanny from the Original Walk-Ons on Burbank on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Well, Rohan, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you stepping in for the Charlie, man. Are you stepping in for me?
I
later
am.
when I go out of town, huh?
I am.
We got our.
You just call me in, baby. Come on in, baby. That's
you
it.
ready? You in the bullpen?
That's
ready?
it, baby.
Huh?
Ready to go.
We are going to have a new host this year for Football Sunday, so it's not finalized yet, but Ravage, we had a good run there. We're still doing at the Queen. So the Queen on the odd number Sundays, first, third, and when there's a fifth Sunday, we'll be at the Queen, the DraftKings Sportsbook. But we are in talks and having some real good talks with Caesars Sportsbook down in New Orleans. So we hope to have something soon to announce in that area. So
absolutely,
we're excited about that. So Football Sunday will be back, and the handicappers have done a good job on that show. It's been a real good
yes,
job.
they have.
What, Max?
I'm just going to add, how about DJ LeMahieu? 15 seasons. He's finally designated for assignment from the Yankees. But
Basically,
it's been a very, very long career.
Might be done, huh?
In the majors. Yeah, it had something to do with moving him in the infield. He can't really play the left side of the infield anymore just because of his age.
So he can't play third.
Injuries. Yeah, so they designated for assignment. I'd imagine he'll get picked up somewhere else, but he's been with the Yankees and the Rockies for a very, very long time.
Very, very short list of batting champions in both leagues.
Yeah.
One with Colorado and one with New York.
A heck of a player, man.
Big old dude, for a second baseman, third baseman. Third baseman more of his size, but for his size, more of an average hitter than a power hitter.
Yep.
I mean, because he would do a lot of his damage, going oppo.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's just unusual for a guy, a player of his size, to do that. But I don't know. I don't think it's more than a handful that you had. Ro, thank you, buddy.
Absolutely, partner.
Yes, indeed. So, all right, Hold the Mayo will be with us tomorrow over at I don't think they have red beans for him, but he's coming anyway. They'll have a Bloody Mary and some beer for him, though. But he'll be yes, indeed. We'll see you over at Ruffino's tomorrow. For Jordan Kitchens back in the studio, Paul Stone, the Colucci man. This has been Live at Lunch, live from the original Walk-Ons on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.